Welcome to Fabric Tech Talk Fridays. I'm your host, Patrick LeBlanc, and I'm here with my most favorite DAX person, Zoe. Zoe, before we get going, before we dig all into the great things you want to talk about, why don't you tell the people who you are and what you do at Microsoft?
Awesome. Thank you, Patrick. So my name is Zoe Douglas, and I'm a Principal Product Manager for Power BI, Analysis Services, Fabric, all the good things, including DAX Career View.
So many things. Okay, so you know Josh.
Yes.
Josh Kaplan.
Yes.
We had Josh here. Josh was bragging about all his OneLake stuff. He was making shortcuts and moving data into the OneLake. And I'm like, Josh, I'm a Power BI person.
Yep.
What do I do with all your shortcuts and all the data in the OneLake?
Exactly. So once you get the data in the OneLake, guess who it's for? It's for us.
It's for us.
It's for us.
It's only for us.
All right, so let's take a look, right?
Okay.
So we've brought all this data into the OneLake,
Yep.
right? And it's fantastic, but we need to be able to visualize. We need to show it. So what do? We go to Power BI Desktop, and guess what? Now we can do Direct Lake right here in Desktop. There's that lake house I just showed you in the service, and I can connect to the OneLake.
Wait, Zoe. So wait, now, if I recall correctly, when you and I last spoke,
Yes.
you couldn't create models in the desktop.
Yes, you can only edit them.
You can only edit them. So
Yes.
there's something different here.
Yes, so we have now enabled you to create them right here in Desktop. So before, if you click that lake house, it would do a live connect to that default semantic model, but now it's going to push you into the creation flow, and you're going to create a semantic model using just the tables that you want from that lake house.
Wow.
Right, so just like I can in the web, I'm going to go ahead and give it a name and pick where it's going to live and pick which tables I want to bring in for the semantic model.
Okay.
Now, not only that, this is a kind of a new mode of Direct Lake, which doesn't have any fallback.
Wait. So this is a top customer ask.
Yes.
You realize this.
Yes.
So normally.
That's why we built it.
Okay. Normally, when I build that model and I'm in Direct Lake mode, if I'm outside the guardrails,
Yes.
I'm going to
Or
Direct.
you used a view.
If I use a view,
Yes.
if I use a view,
Yes, if you use a view. Right,
Oh.
so the Direct Lake we have now in the service, when you go to the lake house or SQL endpoint, it will actually be downstream of that SQL endpoint. Right, so you can use views, but unfortunately the views aren't in the OneLake.
Yep.
So you have to fall back to kind of talking SQL. And we have a mode that does that, it's direct query. So
Yep.
we had this fallback to direct query, but a lot of customers didn't really like that not only was it falling back to direct query, but it was also now dependent on anything you did in that SQL endpoint. Like if you put a role security in there, it would impact the semantic model. So now this new Direct Lake on OneLake is actually going to be downstream of the lakehouse, not the SQL endpoint.
Wow.
And
All
there's
right.
more. There's more, Patrick.
right.
So not only that, but I can also add in tables from multiple lake houses and warehouses, right? So I just went right back into that OneLake catalog. I picked another lake house, and I can bring in a table from that lake house and bring it all together in a semantic model, just like you can with import.
Wow.
Bringing tables from multiple sources together in a single semantic model.
Wow. So let me ask you this. I have spent my Power BI career. I'm just saying. Like, I know a little bit. A little bit about Power BI. I have spent my Power BI career telling people to do import models.
Yes.
Zoe. But I just heard a word. I'm going to come back to this import.
Okay.
I just heard a word, this Direct Lake.
Yes.
Not sure what this means. Tell everybody about
Yeah, so
Direct
Direct Lake. So Direct Lake, what is Direct Lake?
Yeah,
right?
what is Direct Lake?
Right, and so we had import mode,
Yep.
right, which would bring a copy of the data into the semantic model, and we would format it just how we like it
Yep.
and make it so it's really fast and you can create these visuals. But we are making a snapshot, and you have to refresh that snapshot to get the latest data.
Yes.
Right, and Direct Query offered on some sources, you can now have that just make the connection to that model,
Yep.
make that connection to that data source, and then when the visuals load, they would send queries off in SQL from DAX to SQL, and then it would come back with the data. But it was a little bit of latency with that.
A little bit. A little bit.
A little bit of latency, and it put a lot of work onto the data source,
Sure.
right? So
Yep.
you had to make sure that SQL database was tuned and really ready for all that activity on those reports.
Yep.
And now Direct Lake comes in, and now we can access that data directly, just like we can. That's what the direct part.
Yeah.
We can access it directly, but now it's going to still talk DAX. So the way it's stored in the OneLake is very similar to how we were storing it inside when we're using import.
Wow.
But now we don't have to store it anywhere. And then when the visuals need data, they can go get that from the OneLake. It's very fast. There's no translation step. It's kind of, I think the term is like we're scanning those tables.
Yeah.
Right? And so this direct lake brings that kind of near real-time kind of capability with reporting. Now, it also, you can actually set it to not do that, right? You can say, I still actually need to get some tables loaded first in a OneLake, and once they're all loaded, and then I'll refresh the semantic model. You can do that, or you can have it just kind of loading, bringing the latest data always from the OneLake.
So if I'm developing out like an enterprise ETL solution where I'm extracting data, I'm loading data, maybe I want to turn it off because I want to control it because I'm kind of controlling when it comes to my data. But I mean, if I'm working with data that's really transient and I'm not making a lot of schema changes and I just need that data to load, you know, as close to real time as possible, maybe I just leave it on and let it run.
Exactly. So if you have DIMs, like your product's not going to change every 5 minutes, right? But your number of orders coming in is going to change every 5 minutes, right? So now you can have that constantly flowing, and then when you load the report, it's going to show you that latest data.
Crazy.
Which is amazing.
All right.
Right. So this one also, so not only do you no longer have any fallback, but now you can also bring in from multiple sources. Right, so now we have all the tables in our semantic mode. We're live editing it here in Power BI Desktop, and I can start getting this ready for my reporting, right? So when you do that, you're gonna go and rename your tables, rename your columns, you know, make sure everything is good. Now all the ETL you still have to do at the lakehouse level, right? In the OneLake, we didn't get to pick columns, we could do pick tables, right? Now I want to show you something really cool, right? So now we're in Fabric land. We have these notebooks, and these notebooks have SymPy, and I can write Python to actually modify a semantic model. So here, I can add relationships, I can add measures with format strings, with descriptions, with dynamic format strings. I can update my columns to hide and show different columns, do my sort bys, right? Everything you would do in a semantic model to get these ready. Field parameter, I think that's like 4 lines. Calc group, and we can also do calculated tables, so I can have a self-documenting model with info.view functions, calculation items fully fleshed out, and a hierarchy.
So
and
I
ran this in. I just did all of this in 37 seconds.
So I basically can script out the entire model and build my model without using the desktop.
Correct. Well, but we have desktop open, right?
Yes.
It's still there.
And
but because remember when we created that direct lake semantic model, we created it directly in the workspace.
Sure.
So now it's available for these other workloads, such as notebooks, to come in and also play in the space while I'm editing it in desktop.
This is amazing.
Right. So now I'm going to go back to desktop. Right. So you see 37 seconds. And it did a few refreshes, and then I come back to desktop, and there I have my fully fleshed out semantic model, right? And this is a demo, so I wanted to make it kind of quick, so I already knew exactly what I wanted to do this model. Now, some of them are more reusable than others, right? So that self-documenting table, where I just use the info.view function, right? So that's always going to give the latest metadata about that model in your model itself. So you don't have to go, after you modify it, say, oh, now I have to go update the documentation. Automatically documenting in the model. And you can do that in all your models. So that's one that can be kind of reused across.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, so now we have these tables in here, and now I can continue kind of getting this ready. I want to do kind of a profit report, and so here I have profit. I'm going to add a couple more measures, right? And then we can go to DAX Query View and run DAX queries, and I can see data, but also I can create measures inside of a DAX query, and I have Copilot here to help me. Right, so I'm going to have Copilot create my previous month measure and my month-over-month percentage measure, and it's going to do that in a DAX query. So not only does it create the measure, but I can run this outside of my model. It's not existing in the model yet. Test it out and keep the query when I'm ready.
So Zoe,
what's it? Okay, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay, and so just like anything that Copilot generates, I can come in and I can modify it, right? So I want to correct the sort order here, so I'm going to add that order by clause, right?
Yeah. So I'm kind of I don't know. I know a little bit about DAX.
I know somewhat about DAX as well.
I know a little bit about DAX, and I'm looking at this code, and I think it put it on the wrong table.
Yeah, no, sometimes it does that, right? So it is a Copilot. We're the pilot.
We're the pilots.
We're the pilots.
We're the pilots.
And so we need to give this Copilot a bit more direction.
Okay.
So what I can do is I can say, hey, I can select this query and then get into Copilot and say, hey, change that home table to pick a measure. I made that pick a measure for my measures, and now I can see because I've actually started from a DAX query already generated,
Wow.
I can actually see the diff, right? So I can see exactly what has changed, and I can see, okay, yep, that's exactly what I wanted to change, and then I can go ahead and keep those changes, right? So this diff view is really cool.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. What's really remarkable about it is in the desktop. It's
Yes.
right in the desktop.
Yes.
A tool that most people are using today, and it's familiar, and it's not. You don't have to go learn anything new. That's
Exactly.
amazing.
Exactly. So it's right there available to you. It's actually available to you when you're Live Connect, live editing, local model,
Wow.
all the scenarios,
Wow.
right? And you don't need Fabric to use DAX Query View. It is a
Nice.
Power BI feature.
Nice.
And now when I'm ready, so I've ran it again, I can see the results, and I can update my model, and I've added those 2 measures to my model. So let's go over to the model view now, and I see I've given all my other measures nice descriptions. Now these new measures, I can quickly have Copilot help me create a
Copilot. It's Copilot. Go. I'm sorry. It's Copilot. Copilot's everywhere. I mean, if you think about it from someone that's non-technical,
Yes.
like trying to write those DAX measures,
Yes.
could be challenging.
Absolutely.
But with Copilot, you just give it a prompt,
Yep.
and it did a really good job. One little slight adjustment, but
Yep.
it did a really good job. Yeah.
Exactly. So if you're just getting started, but it's also really a time saver if you already know some DAX,
Yeah.
right? So you're like, I don't exactly remember the syntax. I remember kind of how to do it,
Yeah.
but if you show it to me, I'll know if it's the right
Sure.
way, and so that what Copilot can really help in this way. And then now we can go in and finish documenting. Documenting is the funnest task possible
everybody
with
does it.
semantic modeling, and so now we have Copilot here, and it's going to take that DAX formula and it's going to give me a nice natural language description,
Nice.
right? And then I can also, as usual, I can go and modify this, make changes if I need to. Right, so now I've got my measures, I've got my tables, I did all the semantic modeling, I did my relationships.
Yep.
Now we need to create the report,
Yep.
right? So we didn't have a report view, but what we can do is just go File, Blank Report, and just like we can with any model that's published in the workspace, that's living in the workspace, I can just go and live connect to it and create a report. And this will create a separate PBX file for the report, and guess what? We have Copilot here to help us
Of course you do.
create the report as well.
Of course you do. Of course you do.
So Copilot here can also suggest some report pages. It's going to look at my model and say, okay, these are some of the things you can do. I can pick one and say, okay, yeah, let's go ahead and create that report right here in Power BI Desktop. So this is going to give me something to start with. So a lot of times people come in and see that blank screen. You're like, I don't know. I guess we can do something with this data. And this gives me something to start with. And just like anything that Copilot generates, I can now go tweak it and modify anything. It's not like it's locked from me.
Sure.
I'm the pilot here, and I can go ahead and make all these modifications. So I quickly made a lot of modifications to this report. So I just changed so I can see that month-over-month profit. I can see the sales. I can see it by breakdown by category, and then bring in some top numbers at the top here, so I can see kind of the sales, profit, and orders. Now, even though that one is a little bit sped up,
Yeah.
that was really fast,
Yeah.
right? Because I had that, something to work with instead of just kind of dragging and dropping and then formatting it all.
Within a few minutes,
Yes.
right? We went from, hey, I have some data,
Yep.
to a nicely formatted report with some DAX measures that created some logic in
Exactly,
those DAX measures.
exactly.
Yeah, it was great. No, it's great.
Yep. And we have Copilot kind of helping us at every step of the way
Yep.
where it's appropriate, right? And then Copilot here can also be used to kind of ask questions about the data, right? So if I want to say, maybe, do I really want to bring in something maybe about day of the week? I know I have day of the week in here. And I say, which are the busiest days of the week? Now, it's gone ahead and created a table here that's going to show me kind of day of week. And it's also created the DAX query right here in the report view. And I can see it. And then I can actually run that DAX query over in DAX query view and kind of see that result.
Hey, it's Copilot's writing DAX for me now.
Yes.
Do I not need to write DAX anymore, Zoe? Are you trying to put me out of a job here? No.
It'll only make you faster and stronger,
Sure,
Patrick.
Sure.
Only
yeah,
faster and
right.
stronger.
It's the Copilot.
It's
not
a
the
Copilot,
pilot.
not the
It's the
pilot,
Copilot,
not the pilot.
I get it. Okay. So it's like Copilot first development, right? You start with Copilot, and then you optimize, and you optimize. No, I like it. I like it a lot. Yeah.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Right, so now we've created this report. We have it in desktop. We've got to publish it up to the workspace like we do with any report and let consumers kind of see this report. And then when consumers look in this report, they also have Copilot.
Sure.
Right,
Yeah.
so now we have Copilot can create a summary for me. Right, so I can create a summary just of what the report, like you can send this out and create one tomorrow, right? And you can also ask those kind of data questions as well.
Okay. And so I've been developing models, Power BI models, for a long time. I'm just saying. And I have been encouraging people to go big with import.
Yep.
Right? That's what we do.
So now we have hundreds of thousands of import models.
Because of me.
Because of Patrick.
Because of me. It's all because of me. And what do I do with those import models now, Zoe?
Yeah, so that's actually an excellent question, right? So now do I have to go and recreate all of my things?
Yeah.
No, you don't have to go recreate anything. You can actually use import semantic models and direct query semantic models on your Fabric capacity as well.
Okay, I want to see this.
Okay, so let's take a look. Right, so here's my AdventureWorks model I created a few years ago. It's my import semantic model. I have all my stuff created. It's lots of measures. And now I'm using Fabric, so now I can actually come in and finally put descriptions on these measures, because I may have skipped that step when I had to do it by myself. Right, so I can come in, I can, same things that I could do before. You know, I can use Copilot here to create measure descriptions. I can go and add additional measures using DAX Query View. All of those things are still available to me. And now when I publish this up into the service, the report consumer is going to have that same experience we saw just a minute ago with that direct lake semantic model, right? Now they can come in, they can ask questions, they can get a summary of that report. Now this data does not exist in the OneLake.
Okay.
Right, so this data was coming from a SQL database that I have, I think, running in Azure, and I'm just bringing it in, import. The data is being imported into Power BI.
So Copilot will work whether it's in direct lake mode or import mode.
Yes,
Okay.
it will work in all the modes, right? So we're going to get that beautiful summary over here. It has like little citations. You can click on it and see where the visual. I have a lot of visuals on this page.
Sure.
And I can ask additional questions like, okay, so what countries have the highest freight cost, right? That wasn't on my report, but Copilot is able to look at the model and then generate kind of an additional visual here.
Yeah.
Now, not only that, but all workloads in all workloads in Fabric can actually write data to the OneLake. This includes Power BI. So now, if I go to the settings of this import semantic model, there's a setting down here called OneLake integration. When I click this toggle and hit apply, now every time I refresh this model, a copy of the data will also show up in the OneLake.
Wow.
So now my import model is available. The data in my import model is now available for the other workloads of Fabric.
Wow.
Right? So if I come to a lakehouse, I can create a shortcut. And when I go to the Microsoft OneLake, I now see that semantic model, that import semantic model that I just did OneLake integration with, and I can shortcut those tables into my lakehouse.
Okay, I need to rewind.
Yep.
I need to rewind a little bit. I'm sorry. This is so much. This is a lot of information for me as a Power BI person.
Yes.
That has, I'm new to this direct lake, and so now I can create my direct lake models directly in the desktop.
So if you already have data in the OneLake,
now
I can create these models off of that data already in the OneLake.
And then I get my Power BI import models integrated into the OneLake.
Yep.
Can I go back to a model that I've already started building that's connected to the direct lake into the OneLake?
Yep.
Can I connect these models? That's
absolutely.
Wow, this is amazing.
Yeah, so there's multiple ways you can actually go about answering that question. But this one
there's a lot of layers there.
There's a lot of layers there. But like if you put it into a lake house, here I've shortcut to a lake house. Now if I connect my direct lake in desktop to point to this lake house, I can actually bring these tables into that direct lake semantic model.
Wow.
Right, so lots of avenues available to you to get data into the OneLake. Utilize that OneLake data in a semantic model. Right, so not only is it utilized in a semantic model, but I can use it, say, like in a notebook, right? So notebook, you can just quickly drag and drop those tables over, and you can see that data frame right there and do analysis. I think I did a demo once where we did a forecast, and then I saved it back to the lakehouse, and I put that into the semantic model, right? So a full loop you can actually do here with that data, right? And so let's just recap. So we have Power BI and Microsoft Fabric, right? Together, they really bring that data to life, and you can do a whole variety of scenarios with this data and having all of this kind of at your fingertips and create these very interactive and beautiful reports.
Wow, if you think about the flexibility that we just talked about here, right? And so for all of our Power BI people that are like, oh, why do I need Fabric? What's Fabric for? Think about the things that we've unlocked, the layers, right? The things that we've gone through in this short time. We went from a lakehouse to a report to Power BI integrated to possibly bringing that data in. It is truly remarkable. Zoe, thank you so much for taking time to come hang out with us today.
My pleasure, Patrick. Thanks for having me.
All right. See you next time.
Thank you everyone for watching. If you found this video valuable, don't forget to hit that like button.
If this is your first time visiting the Microsoft Fabric YouTube channel, be sure to smash that subscribe button.
Drop a comment below on what you would like to see on the future episodes of Fabric Tech Talk Fridays.
That's it for today. See you all next Friday for another deep dive in the Microsoft Fabric.